So as you all know, Gaza is currently being slowly but surely wiped off the map. Or maybe that's not fair. Maybe it's not so slowly. I don't know how you want to categorize it, but it's being wiped off the map. It's happening right in front of us. And there's very little talk about this anymore. It's sort of taken a backseat to U.S. election commentary and things of that nature. Well, I have an update here for you. Now, it wasn't that long ago that Biden issued a 30-day ultimatum to Israel and Netanyahu. And he basically said, look, you're preventing aid from getting into Gaza, humanitarian aid. It's vital and necessary aid. And if you don't abide by that, we're going to have to enforce U.S. law and stop shipping you money and weapons. That was the gist of it. You have 30 days to comply, do it or else. Right? This was the gist of it. Well, guess what? 30 days came and went. Israel kept doing what they were doing, and Biden and Blinken protected the ass of Netanyahu and Israel. So just to put in perspective for you how bad this is, okay? Look at this. U.S. aid said 600 trucks must enter Gaza daily. Biden asked Israel to let in 350 a day. Israel let in 56 a day. The 30-day ultimatum to Israel may not have changed U.S. policy, but it's now clearer than ever that mass starvation is that policy. So here's what that looks like in chart form. Gaza needs 600 aid trucks per day to avert famine. Biden asked Israel to let in 350. Here's what it looks like. So the Biden requirement is right here. That's this red line. Israel's not hitting it. Maybe they hit it once in late April. The amount required to avert famine is double, nearly double, what Biden asked for. Here's that. So even after the ultimatum, look where we are. Look where we are. It's some of the lowest numbers on the chart. I don't even know what to say at this point. Where's the commentary? Where's the outrage? Where's the news doing their job? Where are any politicians with a conscience? The only one who made a big deal about this and went on the floor of the Senate to talk about it was, of course, Bernie Sanders. And he's trying to block weapons, any more weapons to Israel. I mean, I literally don't have the language anymore to discuss how draconian and disgusting and barbaric and savage our policy is anymore. I said it early on, right? That it genuinely looks to me that even if Israel was to decide one day to nuke Gaza, even if they were to decide to do that, which is totally not feasible because it's right there by Israel and the nuclear fallout could impact Israel too, etc. But whatever, if they were to decide to do that, I don't know if any U.S. politicians who are still with Israel would break with Israel. I think they'd find some excuse. Because if you haven't broken with them to this point, I don't think there's literally anything they could do that would make you break with them. I mean, how many stories have we gotten? Israel basically has concentration camps with Palestinians in them now. And there are stories of innocent Palestinian prisoners getting graped to death by IDF soldiers with metal rods. That's on the record. It's on the record that they're not allowing in anesthesia and necessary medicine into Gaza, and there's an outbreak of all these diseases that shouldn't even exist anymore. And there's kids getting their legs and arms amputated with no anesthesia whatsoever. Like, if this hasn't made you wake up yet, what can make you wake up? How can you wake up? Have we lost our humanity so much to the point where AIPAC coming in and dropping tens of thousands of dollars into your campaign, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, mass slaughter is good? Is that where we're at? So to give you some more here. In Lebanon as well, you know that Israel invaded Lebanon. So there was an announcement the other day that, hey, there's a ceasefire, right? Look at this. Just minutes after President Biden announced that a ceasefire agreement had been reached, an Israeli airstrike once again hit in the heart of Beirut, the New York Times reports. It appears the fighting is set to continue until it formally goes into effect at 4 a.m. local time in Israel and Lebanon. To say Israel is not acting in good faith is the understatement of the century. All right, Israeli experts estimate Gaza's reconstruction will cost $100 to $200 billion to restore buildings to the lowest standard. That's 575% to 1,150% the size of the entire Palestinian economy. This is what we mean by genocide. Israel ensured it'd be impossible for Gaza to sustain life for decades to come. That's right. I mean, North Gaza basically doesn't exist anymore. It's been wiped off the map. What is it, like 70% of the buildings in Gaza are now completely and utterly wiped out? And then we also have this. Here's Al Jazeera English. They're showing a moment here in Gaza where an ambulance crew shows up somewhere and they immediately get shot at by Israeli soldiers. Watch. It's hard to watch, I'm warning you, but here we go. And this is just one video of thousands of horrendous videos I've seen. I mean, it's literally on a weekly basis, I will see a video of a child with his or her head blown off on the timeline. It reminds me, remember when Obama was president, I want to say it was like 2014, and the U.S. bombed a hospital in Afghanistan. And it was a huge story, huge story. We covered it. There was all this reporting that came out that innocent people got killed, but the U.S. immediately was like, oh my God, our bad. We were told from Afghan forces on the ground that the Taliban was in there at that point in time, and then we did it, and it was this whole big thing, right? Well, Israel's bombed over 30 hospitals. Over 30. I don't even know how many schools they've bombed. Probably more than that. They've done controlled demolitions of every university in Gaza. And it's like people hit their psychological breaking point where everybody just sort of tuned out and let the genocide continue. And U.S. policy continues totally unchanged. And unchained. And here we are. It's barely a blip in the radar anymore. Now Trump's coming in. Trump is promising to speed up the genocide. Give Israel more money, give Israel more weapons, allow them to officially annex the West Bank in the same way that he allowed them to officially annex the Golan Heights, which is Syrian territory, in his first term in office. It's going to get even worse, bro. It's going to get even worse. So I think the shocking thing about this is I think it was a wake-up call to everybody that this notion of humanity evolving beyond a primitive past time is total nonsense. We are the same fucking monkeys that did World War I. We're the same monkeys that did World War II. And we're right back to watching a situation of complete and utter mass slaughter and ethnic cleansing and utter annihilation and the destruction of an entire group of people, 90% innocent civilians being killed in Gaza, and now it's barely even talked about. And I don't know what to do about that. And I know you don't know what to do about that either. I just know it has to stop. And it's not stopping. It's not stopping. It's like waking up in a nightmare. It's like waking up in a nightmare day after day after day. And at this point, you know, to defend this, at this point, you either have to be the most ignorant person on the planet who knows none of the facts and have seen none of the videos and have read none of the articles. Either super fucking ignorant or completely malicious or like tribal, right? That's it. That's all that's left. There is no like, oh, good faith disagreement about how they're just targeting the bad guy. Like, bro, if you believe that, I don't know what planet you're on. I don't even know how to have a conversation with you at that point. That is so mind-boggling to look at all of the evidence, to look at the 90% civilian death rate, to look at the tens of thousands of innocent women and children that have been killed, to look at minimum 50,000 dead. We've seen as high as 118,000 or even 189,000 direct and indirect war deaths, the famine breaking out, the disease breaking out, the fucking tents being bombed. They have to set up tents because the buildings were bombed, and they set the tents up, and the tents get bombed too, and everything just continues as if there's no problems. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's astonishing and disgusting. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.